Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put our First Division Coventry City winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast, the Sutton Podcast. I'm joined by a mega panel tonight. I've got four of them. I've got Paul Chalmers, Pau D, Gabriel and Neil. And we'll be talking mostly about the Carlisle match, but obviously the news hot off the press that we're still digesting. I'm sure we'll be discussing that as well. Before we get into it, just want to obviously thank everyone again who has supported us on Patreon. And if anyone wants to, then please do so. Follow the links on the website. Also, I spoke earlier in the week to a local charity called Nickel Support. And they do some really, really good work. And I will be slotting that interview in here. Okay, I should stop being surprised by this, but the magic power of my editing skills. Anyway, we are being joined by Elena from Nickel Support. Elena's very kindly agreed to give me some time to just talk about what they do. Helps me with feeling a bit better about myself doing this and highlighting a few different charities, which I know you guys do like listening to. So, Elena, hello. Thank you for your time. How are you?
Hi, Mike. I'm good, thank you. Not bad. Excited to be here.
Give it a few minutes, you won't be. So, Nickel Support, I've kind of we've buzzed past the shop and seen it and didn't really know what it is, and I kind of reached out to you guys. But tell us a little bit about yourself, how you started, what the charity does in fairly broad terms. You don't have to get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I'll give an overview and why we started. So Nick and I set up Nickel Support. It'll be 11 years in October. And after spending, so together, individually, we've got about 20 years each of experience of working in the learning disability field. And it got to a point where we were just quite disillusioned by what was out there. And some of the stuff like this is absolutely amazing, but we just felt like constantly banging our head against brick walls. So rather than moaning about it, we decided to, take a naive risk at the time. But one of the best risks I can say that I've taken and set up Nickel Support. And over the last 11 years, we've developed our purpose pods. So we focus on health, relationships and employment. Employment being our main focus, basically, because only 6% of adults with learning disabilities are in some form of paid employment, which is just ridiculously low.
Wow.
Yeah, ridiculously low. And to be honest with you, in the last 20 years since we've been doing it individually and together, it hasn't changed. So we've developed this model that we believe is a way forward. And so, yeah, with the employment side, we've had, so what you've seen on Bainham Road is Nickel Support and are now Shop Interestingly Different. For years, with Interestingly Different, we sold, old antique furniture, made a profit, and with that profit, we then employed adults with a learning disability. And that's our model, basically. We use the sessions within Nickel Support. So we restore furniture, we make our own jams and chutneys. We've just developed another range of teas. So we make our own teas as well.
Hang on. Teas?
Teas, yes.
Okay.
Tea blend.
We're going to swing back to that.
And so within these sessions that happen within the Nickel Support hubs, trainees are learning employability skills, how to work with their colleagues, their peers, and how to, what employment looks like. And it's opening up more employment opportunities for the individuals. On the other side, where we've created Interestingly Different is a place for our trainees to go and actually get some work experience and actual paid work, which is the main goal. We want to change that percentage for adults with learning disabilities in employment, because the people we work with are absolutely awesome, and with the right support can thrive in life. They've got a lot to give. So that's part of our journeys. So I'll talk a bit more about Interestingly Different. So this last year, we've worked really hard at, people might have seen the changes from the brown furniture to now a shop with a range of high quality gifts, where our products are now sold. So if you go into Interestingly Different, you'll find our jams and chutneys.
So, I didn't twig when you said it earlier. So the shop's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
It just had a bit of a makeup.
This is the same time.
Right.
So when we set up Nichols, we basically started on Bainham Road. It was Interestingly Different was the shop, and downstairs is where we had the Nichols support sessions, and we've grown over the years. Right, because
it's clearly the makeovers worked, because as we've gone past, it's like, oh, that's a new shop. So because it's the black fascia and stuff, and sort of all glass. Oh,
yeah. So where we focused, which was brilliant, because what we do is we restore furniture. So we used to get furniture donated, and then the trainees would upcycle it, sell it, creating a profit. That profit they would then employ adults with learning disability, and that still is happening. But what we noticed was that there was a lot more skills that we could do if we opened up a gift shop with trainees, like front of house, downstairs, stock stuff, everything. There was more stuff for trainees to get involved with, and those that, lifting heavy furniture isn't for everyone. Antiques isn't for everyone. But so this last year we've worked together to rebrand. So as you've noticed it now, a lot of work went into the branding and how we wanted it to present. So inside, if you come inside, you'll see loads of beautiful gifts and homeware made not just by us at Nichols Support, but other social enterprises. So I guess our approach, the unique approach, is the products that we're selling. So if you come in and purchase an item, you're not just purchasing something cool, you're also creating a social impact. So, for example, if you buy our jams and chutneys, you are also contributing towards increasing that percentage for adults with learning disabilities in the employment world.
Yeah.
So, for example, we also work with other companies, about 16 social enterprises at the minute. One of them is Design in Mind. They make different prints and cushions and makeup bags, and they support people with mental health conditions. Change Please, they develop different brands of coffees, really nice tasting coffee, supporting the homeless people by training them up to be baristas. So basically your purchase has a social impact.
Yeah.
So
right. So money well spent on the redesign. I'll be honest, because I did think it was a brand new enterprise.
Cool,
yeah, it's
so cool. If I'm not saying myself.
Yeah, genuinely, when I see these things, I'm like, why are they bothering with that? But this has definitely worked. So it's on the sort of, I describe it as the corner at the corner of Carshalton.
Opposite
it's kind of
the Windsor Castle pub.
That's a much better description of where it is, because no one's going to know what the hell I'm talking about. Yeah. So. Is the stuff available on the website as well, or is that?
Yes, we have a website. So everything that's in store is online. So whether you're in Newcastle or America, you can purchase. Or local to Carshalton, Wallington or Sutton.
You don't even know what you're saying, because we've actually got quite a few people from America that listen to this. I don't know why.
To visit, you can go on our website, which is www.interestinglydifferent.co.uk. All the products that are in the shop are online as well.
Okay, so Ken & Co, if you're listening, that's their website.
Yes, please, Ken.
So, I have literally just thought of this question. It's not going to be framed correctly, but the employment figure of the 6%. Do you think there's an impact of what is generally considered as a good thing of minimum wage where someone might be saying, well, I'm going to employ someone, but because of minimum wage, if this person's got special education needs, is it better for me as a private businessman to just employ someone who might not need that additional support? Or am I talking absolute rubbish?
I think if I'm understanding what you're saying, right, what has been the problem is, yes, employers go for what, in inverted commas, they think is an easier employee to employ. But one of the things that we currently have is a job coach, and a job coach has gone out with some of our trainees don't need a job coach. Facts. They've learnt the skills, they know how to do the job. You know, they can go out there and do a job without any support. But some of our trainees do. So what we have as well is a job coach who works alongside our trainees in the shop to give them the support that they need. And also, we've got actually some of our trainees working in the Duke's Head locally as well. And so our job coach went along with the Duke's Head and showed how we had a 12-week programme, which gave the Duke's Head, I guess, the confidence, and I guess a bit of a what's the word? I don't know what the word is, but they might have a fear of like, am I doing things right? So and now James is working in the pub with the Duke's Head, doing a fantastic job, not needing our support. So actually, you know, with the right platform, with the right, is that, you know, the equity, not equality, you know, with the right platform, a person, forget the disability, a person can thrive. And yeah, so, but it has had, that is a good point actually, you know, over the years, one of the things that you find yourself banging your head against the wall is like, oh, but I mean, like some of the stuff I've had to deal with over the years is, oh, but there is no but. Our trainees are bloody amazing and can actually really do a brilliant job. Yeah, it has had an impact, sadly.
Yeah, I mean, it is a conversation I had with someone many, many years ago, and it was, I think, I had to say it was a particular brand of MP who was saying it, and we should reduce minimum wage. It was like, oh, I kind of see where he's coming from, but yeah.
Over the years, a lot of people have given people with a learning disability like a WH Smith voucher for doing a job. Why? You know, they should be on a payroll getting the same wages as anybody else. They're still doing the same job.
Yeah. That'd be nice when you go into Sainsbury's and say, right, lovely, let me pay my WH Smith vouchers. See how they,
it's not normal adult life.
Yeah, see how they get on. So if you're sort of out and people are asking you about what you do, what's kind of, I think we might have covered a couple of them, but what kind of like is people's opinion that you always have to go, no, let me explain again. So what is it? They've got the misconceptions, if you like. Oh, that's a long word for me. But what do people assume about your job and your and what your charity does?
What do people assume? It's a good question. I have to think about it.
That's all right.
Maybe that people with learning disabilities can't. And they can. I think there's no them and us. I think that's the thing that over the years has frustrated me the most. You know, an individual, like anyone, just learns different, and I think it's about. It's not even about educating. It's about raising awareness and actually just saying to the world, we're doing it. This is how it's done. And actually, it would be lovely one day that it's not even a thing, basically. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Just want it to not have... Right. In some respects, for nickel support to not even exist, because you don't need places like us.
Well, don't steal my last question. So who, or you don't have to say names if you don't want to, but who is your kind of poster child? Who is the example that you go, this story is the story I'm most proud of, that we've helped someone? There's 11 years of this, so you might not have one. But if I said, give me an example of someone who's been through your programme and has gone on to tell you to get lost, what's that story look like?
Told us to get lost?
Yeah, because you don't need you anymore.
Oh,
once I'm done with you and I've got my job, I don't need you guys.
do you know what? There's so many changes within our of our trainees. You know, they've gone from school or college and then transitioned into like the adult world, and haven't supposedly had sometimes the best opportunities. But we've got one of our trainees. She won't mind me talking about her, but she struggled in social settings. Just even answering the telephone, it was just, she could not do it. And she had, you know, life sometimes got in the way. And with her autism, her approach to something, sometimes she needed a bit of support in understanding her approach. And if you'd seen her 6 years ago, she wouldn't even have talked to you. She would have run downstairs in the shop. But we knew that she could. So all we kept doing is working alongside her, giving her the courage, the support, the motivation to keep going. And she runs the shop and has, well, before we rebranded, because we're trying to get everyone trained up on like the till system and stuff, and the new till system, but she was running the shop by herself every Friday. This is a woman who, you know, wouldn't even answer the phone. You know, and us customers aren't always like the easiest. She was dealing with difficult customers, the telephone, all the things that she thought herself she would never be able to do. And she is. And, you know, we've got another trainee who, you know, no longer is with us. She's moved away, but, you know, she was always told that she wouldn't be, her art was rubbish and blah, blah, blah. We worked with her over the years, and she went and trained in a tattoo shop, and she's now doing her own artwork and selling it and making money, you know, and we still keep in touch.
Wow.
You know, there's so, I could be here all day telling you.
Yeah, I know, that's why
I could literally just be here all day.
I realised as I was writing, as I said it, I was like, this is 11 years, this is a lot of success.
And for some people, what might seem small to other people, it's not. It's that learning to engage with someone, learning to work alongside someone. You know, there's so many. I think some people want big, bold changes, but actually we celebrate all growth with everyone.
Yeah. No, absolutely, because there's all sorts of different things that is big milestones for personal reasons. Like you mentioned the telephone. Yeah. I know there's a lot of people that can't deal with the telephone. I know I work answering the phones all day, but even myself, as the phone rings, it's like, oh, what's this going to be? So someone who's is scared of it, I can absolutely get that, and being able to do that is a brilliant step. So here's the question you were stealing earlier. If Mike had a magic wand and said, right, I'm going to wave my magic wand, all of your goals are going to be fulfilled, how would the world look? And you could pack up, sorry, all your goals are fulfilled and you could pack up, go home tomorrow. How would the world look, and what would be going on?
Okay, so for people with a learning disability and or autism to be part of everyday society, to have everything that I personally as an adult want, a job, relationships, friendships, a house. But if we're focusing in on the employment world, and what I would want is for companies to work alongside us at Nickel Support and open up the employment opportunities, because actually the people that we've worked with, and beyond 11 years, but we're talking about the 11 years at Nickel Support, would offer any company an amazing employee. So we want people like Sutton United and everyone else, you know, let's open up the employment. You know, it shouldn't have to be a thing. You know, we're here, we'll support, but then eventually it's not about the support. Mike, I just want people with learning disabilities to be seen as part of society and not marginalised, and not needing Nickel Support to get those opportunities. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So leads on, and I guess this is a two-part question. How can people help? So individuals, how can individuals help? And then potentially onto how can organisations, even big or small organisations, help? Individuals, one of the reasons like Interestingly Different also was created was to spread the message. Actually, once you buy our products and you taste our jams and chutneys, it's not an R product, it's a real good product. And actually, it showcases that actually people who've learned disabilities are amazing. So come along to our shop, whether face-to-face or online, purchase from us, share it on social media, spread the message, and organisationally, open up some doors. Let's talk. Let's start making those changes together. Not just for our trainees, for the world to see how awesome each person that we work with is.
Excellent. So your social media, certainly on Twitter, because that's the one I use the most, is at Nickel Sport, NICKEL Support.
Yeah, we use Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. What do you know the things off the top of your head for those, or no?
I can. Facebook, if you put in Nichols, I've actually taken my social media. But yeah, if you search in Instagram or Facebook and put Interestingly Different and/or Nickel Support, we will come up.
Perfect. And how can people get in touch with you or Nick? And I've just twigged the name. With you or Nick.
You have?
Yeah.
People do that every so often.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I see how you get the name.
So how can I get in touch with you guys? Is there a generic email or?
Well, if anyone's interested in joining, if someone's got learning disability and wants to join Nickel Support, they can email info@nickel.org.uk. And on our Interestingly Different website, you can log in your details to get information from us. That way, there's a bit on the pages that you can put your information in, and then we will send you information and get updates from us and all the new cool products we have coming in.
Perfect. So anyone who hasn't twigged, it's Nick and Elena. Same as my very clever is Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. So Sutton podcast. So it's not just me doing these things, guys. Everyone does it.
We spent ages looking for a name, and then eventually it happened. So yeah,
it just dawned. Brilliant. You've been wonderful. I've kept you a little bit longer than I said I would. I do apologise. Okay. I'm always doing this. I should absolutely just double. Whenever I say to someone, I'll be about 10 minutes, I should probably just double it because I'm always keeping people because what they're saying is interesting. Go on.
I was just going to say, honestly, if anyone wants more information, please do contact us and pop in the shop.
Yeah.
Meet Dave, Ashley, Karen, Sue. There's, and our trainees are all there. We can tell you a bit more. You can have a look and see the different makers of some of the products we've got in there. Brilliant. Yeah,
well, definitely you're going to have a few people with the jam and chutneys, and then definitely at least one person with the tea. One person particularly likes tea. But thank you so much for your time, and I wish you every success. And yeah, the makeover was definitely worth whatever you spent on it because it made it jump out of my mind.
Yeah, there was a lot of hard work put into that. Ashley and the team did really well. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Hopefully that worked. So now we will talk about, first of all, let's go with the Carlisle match, first of all. We'll start with you, Gabriel. What were your thoughts kind of going into the match? I mean, we've just come off 6 games loss, 11 no wins. What were you hoping for?
Just a nice ending to the season. Just a nice way to say goodbye to the fans, especially that we had such a great audience again. There was 4,700 spectators roughly.
Yes, 4,771, I think.
So I think that we could have got a win for them, and for Carlisle the implications of the game were not too big, as I don't know if they would have chosen one of the possible opponents from the playoffs. All are good teams. Stockport, Northampton promoted, right?
Yes, they got promoted. It was Bradford.
No, Salford and which one?
Stockport will play Salford, and Bradford, Carlisle.
Bradford, Carlisle.
Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't follow them too much, but I don't know if any of this could be considered as a weaker opponent.
But PC, what were your sort of, apart from being freezing cold because you forgot your jacket, what was your thoughts ahead of kickoff?
I've got the justifiable cold from it as well. I've been, my nose has not stopped running. I've been awful.
And I bet she's full of sympathy for you as well, isn't she?
Not in the slightest. I was a little bit surprised by the lineup, but I was quite happy with the performance. I think overall, I think we had a good go. We showed a bit of positivity going forward and commitment going forward, and it was a nice way to sign off the season. That's the way I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Neil, you weren't. I don't think you came out to see the warm ups. You must have saw the lineup and trying to work out where everyone was playing, because we had Sam and Rob, both left backs in the side. What were you thinking at that point?
Well, I thought, the lineup makes more sense after the revelations of who's leading the squad today. So that sort of makes it clearer. I thought we might sort of suddenly play with a back 3 and 5 in midfield, and I thought, Sam would be in midfield, which actually, looking at his bio on Wikipedia, he has actually played for some other teams at sort of left wing back. So I think it was exciting to see him playing sort of there, and he had a really good game. So the rest of everything, Enzio was our utility, new right back, Joe in the centre, it all made sense, and I was pleased to see Killian up front and getting a proper start in a proper match, because it was last week, because he only had 20 minutes, wasn't it, before we ended up going down to 10 men. So. It just confirmed, I think, as I said to Paul, he just looks wider than any other player I've ever seen play football. He is just a man mountain at 19. It's ridiculous.
We were saying similar before the match, Paul. We were just chatting, saying it's good to see Killian get a start, and hopefully he'll get. Well, I don't think we thought he'd get 90 minutes, because that's not usually Matt's style. But what were you kind of ahead of the game? What were you thinking of? You've kind of expecting performance, or just get this 90 minutes out of the way and go home?
No, I think. First of all, I wanted to be dry, and that, there or thereabouts. When it did rain a bit, but I wanted to be entertained, and I can't say we can't say that all season, can we? Really, that it's been really mixed, to be honest. I just wanted to be entertained, not to lose, put in a good performance, and it felt like it was a really good performance, and it held my attention. And the lineup was interesting, wasn't it? As everyone's mentioned, to see that team out was quite interesting to see how that would work. And by and large, I thought they put in a pretty good shift, certainly for a game that had nothing on it, and last game of the season. And some of those players looked really tired out there, and so to put a shift in last game of the season, I thought was a good effort.
Yeah, I mean, we all stayed dry, didn't we, Paul?
Well, have you posted that picture?
No. Wally with a brolly. But I mean, you mentioned Killian's goal. Great goal. He was kind of battling away, and I think someone in our vicinity was just like, "Go on, hit it," and whoa, it went in. So I mean, Gabriel, what were you thinking at Killian's goal when we went 1-0 up, which hasn't happened recently? Well, that's not true. We went 1-0 up at Colchester, didn't we?
Yeah, it was a good goal, and it's good to see him playing. We would expect him to make progress and to become a first 11 player. Speaking about his physicality, as Neil said, I just wonder. I'm just asking this question with no bad intentions. Is he a little bit overweight? Because he seems quite big, really. I other than this, he had another good chance in the second half just before their goal. I would expect him to explode sooner or later, but it didn't happen this year. This was not the year when...
No.
I think he definitely is a player we should be keeping, Killian. I think there's definitely something there. And at 19, I think he still needs a bit of time. So I'd like to see what he can do next year. Maybe he'll play a little bit more. And hopefully, sneak a few goals in as well.
Well, you'd remember, obviously, not remember, he still plays, but Dundo, when he was younger with us, he had a very similar big build. But then he did slim down. So whether his training, I don't think he's necessarily overweight as in like me overweight. I think he might be just more mass than excess. So maybe it's just a case of needing to adjust his training a little bit.
A bit more athleticism potentially.
Potentially, but he goes through people. So Paul,
it depends what system we want to play, doesn't it? Because he is a powerful lad who wins everything in the air, and that does dictate or dictates whether he plays or what system we play. Because he's not going to be running off someone's shoulder and speeding it through. So I think having him in the team will dictate a lot about what our style is or how we like to play.
He's 2-footed, which is a good factor.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, we've seen in the last few weeks as players have kind of gone to barge him off the ball. They bounce quite a distance away from him, so he's definitely like one kind of be pinning everything on. But for the match, we kind of got to half time. I was quite comfortable. I'll be honest. I know they hit the bar, but even now, I know Neil. We had a conversation whether that counts as on target or not on target, but hitting the bar is not on target. You might as well hit the corner flag. But we were kind of in control. Then I didn't stay for the awards, but Joe Kizzy must have felt awful getting all these player awards, knowing that his one header and goal with target was an own goal. I think it hit his face and bounced in. I haven't actually watched it back, but that was a sickener. The last, what was it?
85 minutes. It's 85 minutes.
Yeah. It was a bit of a gutting one to take. How were you feeling at that time, Neil? What did you think? Did you fear the worst, or did you think we could get back into it? Because it did seem like we might. A few minutes afterwards, I think we had more shots.
I still thought we might nick it because Donovan came on and he had a shot on the turn, which could have been a worldie if he just connected correctly with it. So I felt it was a match we were never going to lose. I felt they looked really comfortable. Everybody looked up for it. They looked to have the energy back. So I suspect the illness really has, knocked them for six over the last couple of weeks or so. And the implication is from Matt that some of them been getting out of bed literally to get on the coach to go to the match. So.
Well, you said something there, and I know you said it on Saturday as well, but Paul Darby, Neil mentioned just didn't get the connection right, and he said it on Saturday as well, is the whole season, the balls just seem to be dropping an inch or two away from where we ideally want it, and people just don't hit that pass, or the ball just drops to their player. Is that just bad luck, or are we doing something that... or not doing something?
Yeah, I don't know whether we've touched on it before, haven't we? And about that connection that actually, we play a direct style, but we can knock it about as well. And it just felt all season, or for large parts of the season, it didn't just quite connect. And I don't know whether it was almost that telepathic piece, and whether you lose a little bit of that about where a player's going to be and the runs that a player's going to make because there's a lot of injuries, and so you're not playing with the same 11. And obviously we were playing with some squad players as well. So it felt a little bit of that was missing through a lot of the season. But actually yesterday I did see a lot of it come back. It felt like the ball was moving quickly, and there was some pace about it, and mixing it up, and some penetration in there as well. I thought Dave had a great game. So So yeah, there was some. It was nice to see some of the old Sutton back yesterday, and some of it that hasn't been there this season. But again, we shouldn't take it away from them. 14th would take that, wouldn't we? And especially against the injuries we had.
Yeah. So, PC, your thoughts at the end of the match? 1-1 draw, just about right, or did you feel we were robbed, or how were you feeling? Chalmers.
Oh, sorry. You were breaking up a little bit, mate, and your picture's gone. So I don't know if something's going awry a little bit. Sorry, what was the question again, mate? Because you did break up a little bit.
What did you feel at the end of the match? Were you feel that it was just about right for a draw, or we should have got the win? Yeah,
I think so. I think there was a bit of nervousness from Carlisle. I think they were very aware of how the results were going around them. One of the other chaps was saying, Gabriel, I think it was, wasn't it? That he thought, were they potentially trying to avoid a team, somewhere along the line? You don't know, do you? There could be that they've got a bogey side they wanted to avoid, but there was definitely a bit of nervousness about them. I know it obviously went down to the wire with the last playoff place in the end, didn't it? And I think Salford claimed it by 1 goal or something over Mansfield, didn't they? So it's always tight, and I think we overall, going back to us really, we did play pretty well. So impressed by what we showed, and it does give us some hope. I think I know there's going to be a bit of a change of the squad and the likes, as we said, we may mention briefly a little bit later, but there's going to be a lot of changes. But we need that depth, don't we? And seeing some of the players who did come in and perform, let's hope that we are able to, have some continuation next season, because that is something that has helped us as a club, hasn't it? Having some sort of consolidated squad, so that we that continuity helps us perform. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, big summer. So Gabriel, I didn't plan it like this, but you said you wanted before the match to a good performance and send everyone home happy for the summer. Did you feel that way after the game, or were you still a little bit disappointed?
Of course, with the late goal, you're always disappointed. It felt like it's gonna be a win, and we had that big chance with Ajiboye, which should have scored, in my opinion, when he was with the keeper out in the first half. But it's been such an odd season, So like the first 2 months were normal, home wins, narrow losses outside with a lot of bad luck. But then it started to be really odd. Like we had the next 10 games after Salford's home, we were last, and we started to fear relegation. Then it came a group of 12 games in which we were first. And then again, after starting with our 125th anniversary with Crew, I feel, or if you prefer with the Grimsby game, we were again last, dead last. Even worse than Wimbledon, if that's possible.
Yes, but we did have a good spell in the middle. So we go into the break. I think it's like 12 games without a win, but we did have that good run in the middle, which obviously it got our hopes up. So it's a difficult one, but I think Paul, you mentioned 14th overall. Start of the season, your head would say, "Yeah, I'll have that." Your heart would be like, "Oh, it's a bit disappointing because we were 8th last year." But overall, you can't argue with the league table. 14th is enough. Although with a few minutes to go, I think we were 12th, and I think if we had scored one more goal, we probably would have gone up to 12th because we would have scored more goals than whoever was in 12th. But anyway, it's gone. We're 14th. We're happy with that. Second highest league position in Sutton United's history ever. Whatever way you look at it, next year will be our second or third or first highest in our history, so it doesn't matter. But we're going to just have a quick chat. I do intend to do an end of season wrap up probably in a week or so. But a quick chat. The news just came out literally about 45 minutes before we started recording. Players that were released. Some expected. Philip, Luke, Roman, Matt Ridley and Kwame, you probably would have expected to be moving on. Roman, I was hoping we'd get a chance to see him or develop next year because he did look good the few times I saw him in the academy. I'm not pretending I was there all the time. But yeah, good luck to them all, and they're really likeable guys. I mean, Philip's absolute wonderful bloke, even though he's like clearly Matt's no trust in him because he signed an on loan goalkeeper as well. So, but some of the names that possibly we weren't expecting. Well, Donovan probably was expecting. Omar and Will, if we're honest, we probably were expecting. Kobe and Adam, I think, has taken a few people by surprise. But we'll start with you, Neil. What was your thoughts on the list of players released so far?
So,
we obviously don't know.
Well, not knowing this...
sorry, Gabriel. Sorry, Gabriel. Neil.
Sorry.
So, the one I was very surprised to see was Kobe on there. I know from our visit to the training ground, Matt said there were 4 or 5 players who had come to him saying that they wanted to move on for the development of their careers. And Matt said, fine, he was happy to support them as long as they weren't going to do a retrograde step. So if they were going to go up to a bigger club or a step up, he'd be the first to shake them by the hand and thank them for everything that they were doing. I don't believe Matt would have got rid of Kobe because I think Kobe's been outstanding, covering for Lewis while he's been injured. So I think Kobe's one of the ones that wants to move on. And I suspect we'll find that somebody, that he's going to get a step up. And I think he's up to it. I think he's a player that shows great potential. So I wasn't surprised by any of the others because we knew Jenny told us beforehand that Omar was going, and her information is that Omar's going to Cheltenham. So whether Will's going with him or not, if Will goes back to Swindon, of course, Jenny will have to scrape her off the floor. The one I was very pleased not to see on that list, because the player I expected to be on there I thought Ali was on the move, but it would seem that Ali's not on the list. So I was pleased by that. And the other comment I made, David aside, the starting lineup on Saturday with the players who have been retained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll come back to some of those other names as well, but yeah, obviously, sorry, the loan players have also gone back with David, Matt, Tyler, and Josh.
Yeah.
Mr. Darby, what was your thoughts on? Early thoughts, obviously. It's only breaking news. So.
I'd agree with everything Neil said. I think if we're in the game of conjecture, I think Kobe, you get a sense that Kobe, he's played, 50-odd games in 3 seasons, and he's 27, so maybe it is something about a move, getting some first-team football. If we did have an area where we had some strength and depth, it is at the back there, of course, so... he's not going to play a whole game, whole season's worth there, is it? So you can see why he might ask for a move. And you've mentioned the Omar and Will situation. Donovan Wilson's an interesting one, isn't it? I've always been a big fan of Donovan and singing his praises. Okay, so he doesn't put the ball in the net, but works in a system where he isn't the out and out goal scorer. So it's a shame to see him go, but and he's only 26, isn't he? So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. But overall, it's just more of a sadness, really. There's 4 names there that we've seen play over the last 2 or 3 years in some of our glory years there, and they have been a real part of it. So to see those names go is a bit sad, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say, when Philip put his post up first. Bearing in mind, I don't think he's actually made a first-team game. I know he's played the County Cup. I know he got us thrown out of the County Cup last year. But I don't think he's made a first-team game. But all the comments from Sutton fans, it always makes me feel so proud because all the comments from Sutton fans, it's all good luck, Philip, top bloke, best wishes. blah, blah. It's very different at a lot of other clubs. You see people going and you get some comments, you're like, there is absolutely no need for that. Whatever you feel about the player, there's no need for it. I mean, I know Kwame, for example, wasn't everyone's cup of tea and he didn't do brilliantly for us, but he's gone to Dundee and he's won a championship. So their fans are delighted with him. But Gabriel, what were you going to say about the release list? What did you feel?
So I wanted to say that 1 hour before, when I didn't read this information, I would have. I was prepared to tell you that I fear losing. I'm pretty convinced that we will lose 2 young, good players, and that were Will Randall and Ali Smith. I have seen this last spring with Olaofi. I feel that he didn't put the whole effort in the last 2 months. So that was for me an indication that he's not determined to continue here. Ali did put his weight in the last few games, so maybe that should have indicated that he's willing to stay. And he's a great player. He started to be again the player that he was last season, not at the beginning of this season. And I think he was a bit upset about some missing transfer. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But he's a great player and he can help us a lot. We expected Dave to leave. Omar, there's Gabriel Sutton that was lobbying for him on Twitter continuously, that he's such an underrated striker. So maybe he really caught someone's attention. But he was a great guy. He was putting his fight every game. But of course, he wasn't scoring as much as you would want from the lead striker. So I don't know. Maybe we will get that 10 plus goals per season striker, and that will be for the best. And about Kobe, great guy. He had, in my opinion, he had been way over his physical capabilities, because he has a major flaw, in my opinion, which is he's slow. Mm-hmm. You could have seen that in a counter-attack in Newport when he lost his man for 3 meters, but that guy missed. I don't see Kobe playing AFL next year. Maybe he wants to play full, as it happened with the guy in Torquay. Ben Wyatt. Sorry. Yeah. He wants to be in the first 11, but I don't see him play in the national. I see him playing at National League level.
Okay, well, we'll see. Chalmers, what did you think about the list? I know you've got thoughts about Omar as agent.
I'm not surprised by Omar. He's got a young family. He lives over M4 on the M4 corridor, doesn't he? He's going to play more close to home, I think, and that's what's him and Will travelled in together. So I think there must have been a lot of talk there. If one's going, the other one probably was going to go as well. Kobe is an absolute machine, isn't he? He is absolutely massive. We're saying about Killian being a big unit. Jesus. Kobe is square or rectangle, isn't he? His shoulders are massive. And I think that could be a reason why he might get maybe not a League One club, but another League Two club. Though it could be someone like Barnet come in with a bit more money or something. I know there's clubs at the National League at the top end who might have a bit of money. He's a North London boy as well, isn't he? So, it does geography does have a meaning in this, even at this level of football. Obviously, Lee Engels moved to come to us, hasn't he? Because he was a local boy. Yeah. The players not on the list that are interesting to me. Yeah. I looked at our squad list. We were saying before we started, we've now got 4 players left in in midfield, haven't we? In the squad. Craig, who we know signed a contract. Yeah. We've got Ali Smith, who, many of us were saying we thought might leave, and my opinion is I think he still will. I think he's of an age where there's going to be a transfer fee, and I don't think anything's been sorted yet. So nothing's been announced about that.
It has said Matt will provide more updates over the next few weeks. So there could be still negotiations ongoing. I think the next one you're about to mention, or next two you might be about to mention, their contract was up as well, but it might be they're looking to renew. We obviously don't know yet, but go on, carry on.
There was talk, I mean, it's all rumour mill, isn't it? You don't know. No one knows. But there was talk of Enzio potentially going back to Holland. So I don't know if that's a thing. I really don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I get it. I get it. But I know his missus is about to have a baby in a couple of weeks. And likely to want to be near her family. I don't know where her family's from, though, because obviously he came to us from Notts County. Don't know where her family are, but...
I think I'd be happy for Enzio to stay, though. I think he's a good squad player, and he's adaptable and the likes. And then it's on to Harry, and I don't know with Harry. He hasn't had a huge amount of time because of Ali and Eastie doing well, and he had a couple of injuries as well. Is he going to want to go and play a bit more? Again, close to home, I don't know. I really don't know. It's all speculation, isn't it?
Well, if we don't speculate, then there's no point in this podcast.
Sack the board.
Burn everything. So on the other thing on the loan players is obviously Matt Dennis has gone back to Milton Keynes Dons, who have just come down. So they're probably going to have him as a run out. Dave's gone back to Peterborough, who I think are they in the playoffs?
They sneaked in as the last one.
So if he couldn't get, into a League One team, I wonder would they be interested in keeping him for a potential championship side? And Josh again, Luton are going great guns. So potentially, I wonder could those two end up winging their way back to us? I said winging because they're wingers. That was a very funny joke. No one laughed.
Josh started so well, didn't he, at the start of the season? But he was just sort of almost overplayed, wasn't he? For I think with the injuries.
Well, Adgy Boy's under contract, isn't he? So, it would force a fee out of us, wouldn't he? But you can't see him. And then the manager who signed him at Peterborough isn't there anymore, is he? So,
no. The other one we haven't really mentioned was Adam. I think we were all looking forward to Adam developing a bit, and he had his concussion, and we didn't really see him
footballer.
Again, so...
it's an intriguing one, isn't it?
But
how old is Adam? Do you know?
Early 20s, I guess.
Is he? I don't know.
I don't know actually.
He was on loan at Farnborough.
He was on loan at Farnborough, but again, we don't know. It could be that they've. Players like Kobe, I'm not saying this is true, but players like Kobe, Adam could have went, we want to stay, but we want this much more money. And we've just gone, we're not going to match that. Good luck and all the rest of it. So we obviously don't know. I'm sure Matt will give us as much information as he feels necessary over the next few weeks. But obviously, good luck to them all. I'm sure our paths will cross at some point when they score a towering header against us in the FA Cup first round again. So overall, two quick sentences or a couple of quick words on the season. So, Chalmers, what's your overall thoughts on the season?
Yeah, happy with the season overall. A bit disappointed in the way the last couple of months petered out a bit, but in Matt we trust.
Perfect.
I predicted we'd come 12th, so we're there or thereabouts. So I'll take that. And but I wouldn't have predicted the way we got to 12th. That was quite a roller coaster, as Gabriel alluded to, with the streaky wins and losses we had. But all in all, we'll take that. And looking forward to next season already.
Lovely. And Gabriel?
As I said, an odd season. I cannot say after it if we're that good or that bad. I just cannot say, and I'm looking forward to the next season and to what we bring in, hoping that we will have inspiration in transfers as we had when we got promoted and we found Kesey and Ellie Smith and Donovan Wilson a couple of months before. So I really hope that we will bring in players that will matter in the future.
Perfect. And Neil?
Exactly what Paul said, in Matt we trust. So that's for the future, though I'm always the eternal pessimist, as you know. I ended up feeling disappointed, and then I couldn't think why I was disappointed. Then I thought, well, just basically, we just gorged ourselves on success in the three previous years. So essentially, you can have too much of a good thing for too long. So it's probably only fair that we had a bit of mid-table mediocrity, and then next year, hopefully greater things will be feasting again.
Yeah, 15 wins, 5 draws, 50 points. This job done. Let's move on with our lives. Thank you very much, gents. I will let you go. Thanks everyone for listening. As I say, hopefully I'll get back and get a few different people, maybe do a couple different sessions on a season review, but I'll work out that when I've had an hour or so sleep. So take care. Thanks a lot. Thank you all, gents. Paul, Gabriel, Neil, thanks for your time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Cheers, Mike.
Cheers, Mike.
United!